Artificial intelligence and blockchain, two big buzzwords in technology as well as business. And with me today is a company, Fetch.ai. The CEO, Humayun Sheikh, is going to explain exactly what Fetch.ai is doing in these spaces. So welcome, Humayun. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
How you came up with the idea for Fetch.ai and what is the company all about?
So Fetch.ai, we are three co-founders and we've been working together on and off for roughly 5 to 7 years by now. We have been focusing on decentralization, not of just technology, but of businesses, and how to devolve the power from bigger companies into more small and medium-sized companies. What we realized is that the main issue here is all the new machine learning and AI techniques which are coming. They're quite compute intense, they're very expensive to run, and you have a very narrow skill set which mostly just big companies have. The other part of the game is you're looking at decentralization via blockchain, where you have different finance models, different currencies coming about. All of those financial things which are happening in the DeFi space based on decentralized ledger technology, they also require a lot of compute and machine learning and AI. So our objective right from the beginning has been, how do you bring businesses the benefit of both these technologies?
I'm thinking, and make sure I understand it right, so maybe a small business, let's say somebody's got 12 grocery stores or something, and they know they can benefit from AI and even in blockchain. Different purposes, different use of the technology of each of them, but they're like, oh, is it really worth the investment? You help them incorporate AI and blockchain into their businesses.
We provide them the tools so that they can actually do that themselves, and it's not as complicated as it currently is. So you have a payment network, which is coming from the blockchain side. You then have how do you manage your customer, how do you make sure that your stocks are in the right way, and you can use machine learning and AI techniques for that.
So blockchain is known for its decentralization. I mean, that's kind of the main tenet of blockchain, but AI is very centralized. So how do you combine both of those?
Yeah, so that really is the techniques we're building. Decentralized ledger technology really works well with a multi-stakeholder system. But the problem you have is multi-stakeholder system is rather complex. What we're doing is we're saying it doesn't have to be centralized. You can do it in a collective manner where you control your data sets, you control your own processing.
Are there particular industries or businesses that would especially benefit from this? And can you give me some examples of how they may use the technology?
So a very good example, and I think most people find it easy to understand, is mobility space. Even just looking at a traffic system in a city is a multi-stakeholder problem. And it's a problem which we're using machine learning and AI to resolve. A self-drive car is another example. When the self-drive car is driving, it needs to interact with different things.
Okay. I mean, even as you were speaking, I started thinking about governments could use some of this. I mean, you got to be a little careful with the AI governments, but you mentioned the traffic, and, I'm thinking all the different things that our governments do and how they may be able to use this technology to just make services more efficient.
If you now think even more further down the line, so if you have a self-drive car and the self-drive car needs to have a insurance, you could actually have insurance on the fly. So a car could be driving and getting insured as it's driving, and the government or the councils or the city councils could actually control congestion by imposing dynamic congestion charges. Now, you can't run such a system when you are all connected to one big entity. You have to run your own AI and machine learning.
Now we're talking about the Internet of Things, and even 5G technology going to kind of be the technology that makes it all work. So how can organizations make sure they are prepared for IoT future?
But first, they have to be receptive to 5G, because connectivity is a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
You can see IoT devices themselves are dumb because they can't have too much intelligence. They're on edge devices, they're on 5G, they're on edge, and they have certain processing capabilities, but you need to use that then to connect it with other devices. What we have is a multi-agent framework. So what that means is you can assign agents to all these devices, and these agents they can have their own self-contained objectives, and they can then speak to to each other to actually deliver those objectives. So while working for you or for that IoT device, they could be collectively delivering a very efficient solution.
Absolutely fascinating. And you can see how logically it would all work and benefit society. So it's absolutely interesting. So how could we see Fetch AI's technology in action?
We can see it. We have a live GitHub account. You can download a agent framework. You can actually have various types of IoT devices. You can connect them to the agents, and you can start speaking to other agents. It's already in beta phase. We are allowing people to test it. We also have a test case which we're building with some of our partners, which is a decentralized delivery network. So we're working on a new type of network where you actually optimize your agent optimizes your delivery network for you rather than for some other person. It would improve the income the individual is getting, provide them more opportunities so you can have all three systems running within one agent, and it brings the cost down so any intermediaries which sit there in the middle charging you 15-20%, they disappear. So all the revenue goes straight, and so for the consumer the cost goes down, and for the service provider the income goes up.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting, and thank you for sharing the story of Fetch AI, and best of luck. And
we're quite excited about this.
No, sure, and I feel like I'm kind of imagining the future, and really kind of started with the internet, and then delivery, and then we're just expanding from there. Thank you very much, CEO of Fetch AI, Maya and Sheikh, for joining us, and thank you as well for joining us. We'll be right back. Native Coin is a cryptocurrency specifically designed for use in tribal casinos and enterprises. And the advent of sports betting online has really been a game changer for the company. So with me to talk a little bit more about that is Louis Barnaby, the president and co-founder of Abergon Consulting, also Casey Martin, the chief administrative officer of Native Coin, and Jeff Johnson, the chief operating officer of Native Coin. So welcome, everybody. Explain, how is this being used? Where can I find it? How are you taking advantage of this kind of unforeseen opportunity?
Native Coin is able to help streamline revenues with online gaming and sports betting where they've never had that or done that before in past. And so we've been talking directly with the casinos about how Native Coin can help bring outside investment from other parts of the world, other parts of the country, and help bring in revenues even if you had to close down your brick and mortar.
What has been the reception from the casinos in terms of this? Do they see this as, wow, here's another revenue source when we can't make any money anywhere else?
It's been mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing to them. Something like this happening and the casinos shutting down, it literally put this at the forefront, right at the top of their list with how Native Coin fits right in as a payment method. Mm-hmm. So it's been going great.
I hate to call this an opportunity because it's tragic and horrible for so many people, but how do you make sure that you position yourselves during this so that when things do get back up and running, you're still a major player?
Working with not only Lewis, but local tribes and casinos and seeing what their needs are and working with them hand in hand to make sure that this is done right, not only to open up outside investment and commerce to bring to the local brick and mortar, but to open up for future with sports betting, online gambling, bringing revenues in. So if and when this ever happens again, then it will be, it won't stop in its tracks like it did today. And this will help prepare us all for something like this happening in the future where it won't change our lives so drastically and dramatically.
Yeah, well, and plus I think a lot of us got used to new technologies. Like we're on Zoom right now, and there's just a lot of really quick kind of learning curves we all had to make. So maybe this is another one. This will accelerate a trend that was already in place. Louis, do you agree?
Absolutely. Part of what we do and part of Abergon's reason to exist, it's always been baked into our DNA that our company is all about genuinely assisting indigenous enterprises. So when we heard about what Native Coin was doing and how it would be the first cryptocurrency that would be it would directly provide benefits to indigenous communities, we knew that they would make a great partner.
Now, last time we talked, I know you were talking about expanding the reach. You had reached some partnerships with some exchanges. Can you update me on how that's going?
We have some foreign exchanges. By foreign, I mean outside of the United States. We're right now working with some locally here in the United States and in two other countries right now to try and expand the reach for native coin, make it so that when we do roll out the sports betting with native coin, or we roll out the online gaming, that people all over the world will have easy access to get native coin. That's always been our number one goal, is to make native coin very accessible to everybody, no matter what country you're in, where you're from. Make it as easy as possible to be able to get native coin, so that when you want to go and you want to gamble online or place a sports bet, that it's very easy to get native coin.
Walk me through the process. How can I use native coin?
So the big thing that we're doing right now is we've been working on the ATM. Typical ATM you've used before. You could walk into a casino, there's a native coin ATM there. If you're looking to purchase native coin to go gamble later online as part of their sports betting or online gaming, you can purchase it right there at the brick and mortar. If you want to go get it before you get there or from the comfort of your home, then you can go to we're on 7 exchanges. You can go to one of those 7 exchanges, purchase native coin that way, and then, go do your gambling from the comfort of your home.
Mm-hmm. And then Lewis, explain how Abagon, you talked a little bit about this and how the tribes are looking to kind of adapt to new technologies and making sure, that they're part of this. I mean, explain a little bit more about how you've been assisting with all of this.
Everybody's looking for ways to adapt to this new situation that we're in. There's been unique solutions to a lot of these, new obstacles that have been put in front of us, and that's just one of them. And with native coin right now, a lot of it is capacity building. We're building the capacity to be able to handle more transactions, more exchanges, and then also to get ourselves on, like you said, an online casino platform.
Do you feel like through all of this that cryptocurrency has gotten a little bit more acceptable? I mean, it's money you don't have to touch. It's all digital. I mean, maybe just in general, this is kind of a new form for crypto.
Yeah.
Yeah, with speed, with transfers, right? Money transfers take a lot longer now because the banks are overwhelmed, not being open. Money takes longer to get everywhere. And the beautiful thing about native coin and the technology that is here is you can use it and instantly send money across the world right then and there for nearly free.
In our final couple minutes, we'll start with you, Liz. Just kind of explain what you're looking forward to as we ramp back up the economy, and what are your goals?
So hoping to see our business expand, with our writing services now fully launched. Our website has been fully launched. That's apoqon.com. And we're going to be firing up some social media accounts, but right now slow and steady, and we're making sure that everything's done right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Casey and Jeff?
My focus has always been trying to make sure that the on and off ramp, the way to get native coin, is as easy as possible. And Casey's been working with Lewis on more of the day-to-day with the sports betting and online gaming and those type things. So that is my goal, though. The ATM rollout will be happening. It'll be happening sooner than later. So I'm excited.
Well, thank you guys for coming in and for meeting me on Zoom. I can't wait to get you all back to the NASDAQ again. So once this is
Looking forward to that.
Yes, and best of luck to you, and please keep us updated as you roll this out, because this could be a really kind of game changer for you.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
SoMee.Social is a blockchain-powered dashboard that allows users to interact with all their social media profiles on various platforms from a single interface. Now, the SoMee.Social platform intends to enable users to exercise complete control over their online identities by serving as a bridge to all centralized social media platforms. So with me is the CEO, Christopher Kramer, and also Dr. Jen Welter, an advisor to the company. So great to have you here.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks for having us.
So tell me about the company, the background. How did you come up with this idea? Just give me a little history.
Yeah, definitely. So we established actually the company in early 2012. This is when I originally had the idea, and later on we incorporated with Davis Wright Tourney in December of 2013. So it kind of took a little while to get that going. And the original idea was just, with the rise of social media and Facebook and all the people that could join a platform, they're creating this immense amount of value for the actual platform, but a lot of people weren't actually capturing the value themselves with the content and contributions to social media. So we originally set out to help users capture that value that they're creating on our original platform.
It's kind of obvious, but maybe you could fill this in a little bit. Why would somebody want to use the SoMee platform?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously we're hitting the monetization point. So actually at the post level, when somebody posts their content on a platform, they can see a little dollar sign that shows up. And as long as it's on the blockchain, when other people upvote them, their contacts, their followers, it'll start to raise that and they'll see a US dollar value on the post level. So first of all, it's the content monetization. And then we're really focused on giving them more control. So we're creating private keys for people's private information so they can choose what to share on social media and if they want to monetize or not. Because as an operator, we don't want to be the ones to share private data behind their back and try to monetize it. We want to empower the user. So for us as an operator, we really want to empower the end user to be able to share or not to share their private data. And if they do share it, then they can monetize it, and the platform takes a little cut of that.
So where are you in terms of the development of the platform?
Yeah, so we've been in beta for the last year, and we're coming up this January. We fortunately received a grant from Amazon to move onto their platform. They paired us up with one of their top partners in the nation, ONG, who is really moving quickly to establish a scalable network, leveraging Amazon's quantum blockchain and a lot of auto-scaling technologies. So that'll be finished in mid-January 2020, and we'll be able to really support millions of users at that time.
And you have some impressive partnerships and advisors on your board. So let's bring Jen. So Jen, give me your background, because you've been kind of a groundbreaking person through your career. Go ahead and brag a little bit. Tell me what you've been doing.
Yes, thank you. Most people who know me know that I was the first female coach in the NFL, but I've been a long-time advocate of women in sports and equality through sports. I would say since football is a place that doesn't have parity on any level in terms of gender, it being called the final frontier for women in sports was like a motivator for me. So I always kind of thought if we could change football, then we could change the world. And what SoMe's doing in terms of revolutionizing monetization, content, and really increasing the transparency through blockchain, to me is very attractive. And I think it's something that we as women need to be at the forefront on, because even if you look at like the women's soccer team, people talk a lot about how the popularity is there and yet the dollars aren't. And this is a platform where users can literally make their dollars make sense and drive business through that way. And to me, it's really a great situation that I want women to know. This isn't something where you have to throw your hands up and say, oh, those finances, that's not for me, it's too confusing. Like, let me coach you up on crypto. It's not cryptography, it's not some scary thing. It's actually been set up to be very transparent, to be under your control, and to let you own your financial and fiscal freedom.
Well, and it's in such its early stages still. Like it's a good time for women to get involved and kind of, get a foothold in this industry and kind of grow with it. So, I think that's really important. So what kind of things are you doing then for SoMee?
So one of the things that we talked about is I had an independent auditor first look at it for me because it wasn't my world, right? I say all the time, like football is my world, psychology, some of these things, I'm really good and really fluid. So if I want to get involved, I need to know exactly what that looks like from a simple standard and then to see how it resonates. And the first thing that my auditor came back with was, well, this is all set up for transparency, ownership, and really to have people monetize in a new way. And I was like, but crypto, like, what is that name about? Like, I thought that was shady.
Right. People do think that about crypto still.
Right. And so when I was talking to him, I was like, well, we need to coach him up on crypto. And he was like, well, that sounds perfect, Jen. If that's something you could do. And I was like, well, I can learn, but I can bring other people with me. And to be able to have really transparent dialogue that focuses on empowerment in a new form of currency and communication. Women, we love when we know something and we love to be in control, but we have to kind of get confidence, comfortable, and clarity, right? If you have those three C's, people will move.
That's important. Yeah, not to have companies that are actually sharing the data without your consent, And we did create something called the Ad Share Marketplace, so the advertisers can come in and they can place an ad with their normal targeting. But what happens is if they select a certain setting called G Boost or Global Boost, it takes a snapshot of their ad and puts it in a campaign gallery where their target audience can now target them back. And then the audience members and the target, obviously, for their advertising campaign can opt into it. And if they want to share data points, it's a win-win for the advertisers. Feel like they're going to get more data from it and more value, and then it's all consent-based. So it's really important that people, control their own data and that we don't share it as an operator behind their back.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chris and Jen, for
Thank
coming
you,
in and
Jen.
explaining it. Best of luck as you launch.
Thank you so
So,
much.
thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
And thank you as well for joining us. We'll be right back. Binance is the largest crypto exchange in the world. And in fact, Binance just 3 years old and is already worth $15 billion, which is amazing. So I have with me Helen, hi, also Jared Wynn, to talk about the Binance Charity Foundation. So Helen, tell me a little bit about yourself, and then why are you a part of the Binance Charity Foundation?
I'm currently heading the Binance Charity Foundation. At the same time, I'm still a United Nations Goodwill Ambassador to promote industrialization in Africa.
Okay, all right. And then Jared, tell me a little bit about your involvement in this as well.
So I'm helping Binance with their United States exposure. Currently, a lot of their efforts in the philanthropic space have been in Uganda and Africa, and I'm helping them bring a little bit more of that to some of the needs in the United States specifically. Okay. So partnering with different charities as well as doing disaster relief campaigns and things of that nature.
And I would think that Binance would be in a unique position because crypto opens a kind of a whole new world for charity, and in terms of tokenization and the more democratic process of having people own assets and that. So I guess that is a perfect fit for Binance to be able to be involved in this.
Definitely. I think maybe talk about a little bit of history. I think what is the biggest problem for this century? I think one of the biggest challenges is currently 1% of the population holding 90% of the global wealth. We need to do something at the beginning of the fourth industrial revolution. Technology should work for people after all. So we believe there is a use of blockchain technology actually to support the bottom billion people for their economic transformation. And we are very proud we are actually being an industry shaper and also entrepreneur at the same time, exploring the real use, in the continent of Africa. And like Jared said, we're also this year coming forward, we want to spread the successful example across the global other continents.
So talk to me a little bit, like specifically, what is Binance doing to help prop up some of the, populations that aren't taking advantage of the wealth creation?
Okay, maybe give you a little bit context. Post-Second World War, since 1960 to 2008, globally there's about 200 developing economies. But when we look at what happened, in that period of time, there's only two economies actually moved from low income status to higher income status. That is South Korea and Taiwan. China likely to be the third one by 2025. And out of those 200 developing economies, only 13 of them moved from middle income status to higher income status. Out of those 13, 8 of them are in Europe. The original GDP gap is small. The other 5 are Asia for tigers. So basically, when we look at that period, the huge economic transformation happened in Asia. In the 60s, people thought Asia is a hopeless continent. Africa has a much better chance for economic transformation. So the secret of Asia's rising, because during the second industrial revolution, they were able to take that golden opportunity, which is manufacturing. They were able to create millions of jobs for the people in the bottom of the pyramid. That is jumpstart of those countries' economic transformation. And then we look at what happened for the third industrial revolution, which is internet-based. People in here, in the States and in Europe, in Asia, were celebrating the technological advancement. But the world didn't become a better place. As I mentioned, if I look at the figure, 1% of the population holding 90% of the global wealth. So now, as a new generation, we need to do something, about the technology. That is why we realize blockchain and crypto, this is a way, I would say, redefine capitalism.
Exactly.
Jared, talk a little bit about the U.S. and what's happening here.
Sure, absolutely. So what we run into when it comes to any area of opportunity is when there's something great, there's corruption that follows behind it.
Sure.
And so today, if we donate to charity, I'm not going to name any charities, but if we donate $100 to a charity, it's anticipated that about $20 of that actually reaches the end beneficiary. So Binance Charity is privately funded by Binance, the company itself, in which any donations that are surfaced or any donations that are made through the platform, 100% of it, 100% of it is given to the end beneficiary through transparency and through trackability. And the trust mechanism is really what is built into blockchain. As soon as you eliminate the random variable of human behavior, you don't have to worry about trusting an entity with those funds. So what we're doing now with the United States is blockchain has so many different negative things about it. Bitcoin, people hear the things that they're afraid of,
Right.
people losing their homes. Immediately that strikes your heart and you're like, wow, that's horrible. And people are going to remember how things make them feel. And what we're doing in the United States is we're creating a mission. We want to be the crypto community. We want to drive the crypto community to donate towards these causes in the United States, whether that be homelessness, whether it be the opioid crisis, whether it be even a special subject such as the Gleason Foundation or anything of that. We want to kind of align the crypto community and be one of the largest supporters of that. And I feel that that type of publicity is exactly what blockchain needs.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Jared and Helen, for coming in.
Thank you.
It's our great
Amazing
pleasure.
project you're doing. So, and
Thank
thank you as well for joining us. We'll be right back.